fight fans? It's the TST Alyas here, back again with another banger. And today we have a very special guest because he is the pride of Casa Grande, Arizona. He is El Mono, Mr. Jesus Ramos. Jesus, how you doing today, bro?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Jay, just thank you for taking the time out to talk to me.
Nah, thank you, man. Appreciate you for having me on, bro. Thank you.
Of, of course, let's just get straight to business, man, because December 6th, you fight Shane Mosely Jr. for the WBC interim middleweight title. Talk to me about this matchup.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. Shane Mosely Jr. He's a great fighter, but we always used to watch his dad. So like, I always say that if you would have told me, you know, 20 years ago that I was gonna be fighting his son, I wouldn't have believed it, man. I would have called you crazy, but it's crazy where we're at now, and I'm excited about it. I know he's a great fighter. He's tough, and he's motivated to get out of his father's shadow. So. I know he's extra dangerous for that. He's gonna come out motivated and he's gonna be me in that ring.
For sure. And this fight was originally scheduled for October in the Sebastian Fedora Keith Thurman undercard, and obviously that fight card got canceled. What was your initial reaction for that cancellation, and how did you have to adjust in training camp? Because you were only about like 1 or 2 weeks, before
Yeah.
that original date.
Yeah, man. I had just got done doing 10 4-minute rounds of sparring when they told me that it was canceled. So, that's we were like peaking, man. We were like right at the end of camp. I was ready. So it was very, very disappointing. Obviously, we didn't even know what was gonna happen. They said we were gonna see if Fundora can fight maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, so we'll just postpone it to that. And if not, we're just gonna have to wait till next year. And so I was like, man, we just praying and we obviously took a break. We had to stop training. We didn't know what was gonna happen. And then we get a call, after a week that we could be on the card of Pitbull. We took it right away. We said, let's do it. Same fight, same everything, it's just different date and venue. So whatever, we want that fight. But it's hard. It's been difficult, man, because like I said, I had already done 10 4-minute rounds, so like I'm already in shape. Conditioning wise, I'm good, weight's good. So it's been kind of a different camp heading into this one. It's been kind of slower. We've been kind of taking things slow, just focusing on little things, just because the work's been done. The work has been done. We don't want to overtrain, so it's just been trying to taper it to the right amount. Not doing too much and not doing too little. So it's been something new, but I've been enjoying every bit of it, man.
For sure. And what's interesting is, obviously this fight is for the interim middleweight title for the WBC, but you were a general top 10 like contender at 154. What was the reason to, jump to 160 pounds?
Right. So when our promoter called for this fight, he said, I have WBC has offered me a 160 interim title, and I thought about you guys. You fought at 160 before, and I know you're trying to fight at 154, but there's this opportunity, and I wanted a belt, man. I always said, I don't want 2025 to end without me, having a belt. So I jumped on it. I said let's do it. And I haven't fully closed the door on 154. I still think there's big fights to be made there. So I'm willing to go back down, but I do want to win this interim title, and I want to become a full champion. That's the goal. Before I do anything else, I want to become a full champion. So that means I got to fight Adames. I have to fight Adames after this. Without overlooking Shane Mosley, obviously, but getting the victory December 6th, that'd probably be my next target.
For sure. And this is your third fight of 2025. The last time you fought 3 times in a year was 2021. What's the biggest difference from this version of you compared to the one 4 years ago?
And the experience, the experience that I've had over these couple of years has just been crazy. And at that time, I had I felt like I was experiencing them. Had been in there with good sparring partners, Lara, Crawford, a lot of good guys. And I just felt like a lot of, like I said, I had an experience. But now looking back, and I feel like now I'm better. I'm better today than I was then, and I think that's an accomplishment, man, because I'm just trying to get 1% better every day. I'm not trying to be stagnant. I'm trying to, grow. And yeah, man, it's been a journey, but I do feel like my experience is a lot more, is a lot greater, and I'm a better fighter than I was back then.
For sure. And your only loss is to Erickson Lubin back in 2023, a controversial one. Many people thought that you won the fight. What's the biggest lesson you learned from that loss?
I took a lot of lessons from that, and I probably couldn't just pin it on one, but that fight, it really changed everything, really changed my whole life. I took a loss and I took it on the chin. I know everybody was saying that, oh, we thought you won and all of that. I didn't really feed into that too much. At the end of the day, I lost, and then that goes on my record. So it doesn't matter what other people think. I lost for a reason. So, I came back and I started changing everything, little habits. I started reading more. I started having more peace at home. Just being a better person as well as a better fighter. I think that having everything right at home just translated into my boxing career. So it's helped me a lot, man. It's helped me a lot. Of like I said, I've grown. I'm matured a lot since that loss, and I know people have noticed it, in my past performances and just the way I've been carrying myself lately. It's different.
For sure. And Jesus, I actually from CG. I used to live there a while ago, went to Union High School and stuff like that, man. So I really
Nice.
know how small the town is. There's only two high schools in the town and stuff like
Yeah,
that. What would it mean to bring, the WBC belt, the green belt, the most famous belt in boxing back home to CG?
man, that's a dream come true, man. You said it yourself. Only two high schools. I'm sure when you lived there was no boxing gyms. It's been us. So just to compete at this high level, knowing that we're not surrounded by boxing, kind of like Cuba, all those, fighting countries that boxing is everywhere. That's not the case here. It's just been us learning, paving the way, and we've had a there's been a lot of ups and downs for the whole family, not just myself, my uncle Abel. It's been a lot of learning. So being able to bring that title back and have all those years, be worth it, all that dedication, all that sacrifice from not just myself, man, my family, everyone that's been alongside with me in this journey, it just means a lot. And I know that it's gonna mean a lot for the city too. We're right now we're blessed. We have a lot of good connections, and I know they're all happy to see me fight, and I know they're all happy for me to bring the belt home. And man, I want people to know, Casa Grande exists and that we have talent here, man. We have potential, and we just gotta show it one fight at a time.
For sure. And just talking about the boxing gym, Ramos Boxing Academy, you bring high quality resources to the city, the small city. How important is it to lay that foundation and the building blocks to produce top quality fighters out of CG?
It's really, really important. And you know what, man? It's not just in boxing. We have a boxing gym here, and the kids go, but we're always talking with them, and just telling them that you can do whatever you want, if you set your mind to it. And it doesn't have to be specifically boxing, it could be school, anything, they just, as long as they have that discipline that they have with showing up to the gym every day, they can apply that to anything in their life, and it, we try to keep them motivated, because some of these kids, they don't have that at home. They don't have someone telling them they can do whatever they want. As long as they set their mind to it, they can be successful. They don't have that. So that's what we're here for. We're here to remind them that they can be great. Whether it's a boxing or something else, and if it's boxing, great. We're here for them, and like I said, we opened up that gym for them, and we have a good amateur team that they work hard, man. They work their butts off for the same reason we want to take them to tournaments and get them ready for the pros. So we're just trying to open more doors for them in all aspects, whether it be boxing or whatever they want to pursue in their life, just know that just for them to know that they have support and someone rooting for them, I think it goes a long way.
Absolutely. And the sport of boxing, it's always considered a poor man's sport. Some people want to get out of tough situations when they get into it. Some people just want to test themselves out at the highest level. But aside from wanting to become a world champion, what's your biggest why for continuing to box?
Man, I just aside from being a world champion, I want my name to be remembered, kind of like Floyd Mayweather, kind of like Muhammad Ali, Manny Pacquiao. You talk boxing, even if you don't know anything about boxing, you know Floyd Mayweather, you know Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson. Those are all names that are just just, even if you don't follow boxing. So that's what I want my name to be. That's how great I want to be. I when I started this, I didn't want to just you know be a regular fighter. There's a lot of boxers like that, and I don't want to be like that. I want to be great. Like I said, I want my name to go down in history of boxing. Even after I pass away and all that happen, I want people to still remember my name and fighters to look up to me. I think that's my biggest why and why I want to be so good and great.
Absolutely. And Jesus, my last question for you is what can fans expect December 6th when you step in the ring against Shane Mosely Jr.?
A great fight, man. A great fight and a version of me that I've been working on every day in the gym for the past we'll say 16 weeks now. It's been a while, but I've been working, and I wanna give a good fight, and I want this kind of to be a coming out party per se. Different fans are gonna see me in San Antonio, and I want to show my style, and I want to leave a good memory for them. I want them to follow me from now on after this fight.
El Mono is back in action. Jesus, thank you so much for your time, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck on December 6th.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. And that's crazy that you're from out here in Casa Grande, man. That's badass, man. It's good. It's good to know that, people come out of here.
Hey,
It's
man.
badass.
It's good to represent the 520.
Yes, sir.